What's up, guys? It's your man Donovan Sharp, and welcome to the first unofficial edition of TSR Sports Talk. The reason I launched this particular show is because I got a lot of feedback from you guys. A good maybe 20 or 30 of you who said, hey Donovan, we love the content, we love what you talk about, but I don't, I had a lot of people telling me that they skipped the first part of the show because of all the sports talk. I had some guys say, hey, look, love the show, but I didn't tune in for sports talk. I tuned in for Red Pill content. Hey, I read you guys loud and clear. So what I've decided to do is do a sports talk show. I don't know how often I'm going to do these. I don't think it's going to be a regular thing. It's not going to have like a regular time and day or anything of the sort. Basically what this is going to be is that any time a particular sports story breaks or anything of note happens like I'm going to talk about today, I'll jump on and then of course I'll do a quick video. I'll address it myself, give you guys the red pill angle, and we will go from there. So for those of you who are sports fans like myself, but are also red pill aware, like I said, this is definitely going to be more up your alley, so to speak. So like I said, I definitely gotta listen to my audience, and this is something ESPN clearly is not doing, and I'll get into that here in just a moment. So again, this is the first official unofficial edition of TSR Sports Talk. So I'm going to be doing my sports talk. I'm going to be doing my sports talk shows on this channel. Again, anytime sports talk or sports stories break. So here we go. So last night, Cam Newton made the news because he made a sexist remark about towards oh god, I've already forgotten her name. Her name is Jordan. Oh boy, good god, I'm supposed to be informed. Jesus Christ, give me a second here. Newton, Jordan, yeah, Jordan Rodriguez, and of course she spells her name Jourdan. It seems like every fucking bitch out here all of a sudden is named either Jordan or Alex, and there's like 100 different ways to spell it. Like Jordan, Jourdan. I've seen Jordyn. I've seen ALY. It's fucking ridiculous. It's all an attention play. Yeah, that's some sexist ass shit. Don't give a fuck. Fuck y'all bitches. Don't care. That's what I'm not here to glorify bitches. Anyway. So you guys can Google this, you guys can YouTube this, but Carolina Panthers beat writer Jordan Rodriguez asked Cam Newton about one of his receivers and route running and all that. I wanted to put it up here, but I don't want to get a copyright strike from YouTube. I'm already under the gun as it is. And Cam Newton kind of smiled and laughed. And he said, it's kind of funny listening to a female, or something to this effect, listening to a female talking about running routes. And then he answered the question. And then Jordan Rodriguez, apparently had a conversation with Cam afterwards, and she said it was worse. Of course, she can say it was worse, whatever the case may be. There's Ms. Rodriguez on your screen right there. Typical female sports beat writer, whatever. So that's Cam Newton right there. This is actually him during the press conference that he had, and he's laughing his ass off because he's not used to women talking about route running or anything like that. Usually, and I've always maintained that I do not have a problem with women in sports within the context of looking good and giving us the news. XYZ player is out with a hamstring. ABC player tore his ACL. XYZ player tweaked his knee. We'll see if he comes back at halftime, whatever. I'm not interested in the female sports opinion. Females as it is. Females are driven by their emotions. They're not driven by facts. Yes, there are exceptions to the rule, but females are fucking females. They're governed by their emotions. They're governed by their feelings, etc., etc. And I'm not interested in listening to a female break down route running because they can't fucking do it. I don't give a shit. They can call me Neanderthal. I'll be that fucking Neanderthal. Females are who the fuck they are. And we'll get into that a little bit later. So later on, Jordan Rodriguez puts it, of course she tweets out because she's so brave and so this and that and the other. I don't think it's, quote, funny to be a female and talk about routes. I think it's my job. Who gives a fuck, man? It's so funny when women do this. They think they're so strong and brave. And apparently she confronted Cam Newton after the press conference. I don't believe a word of that. She said it got worse. I don't believe a word of that. She didn't confront him. It was probably all laughy, jokey, this and that and the other. And then, of course, she decides to take to Twitter, which is, of course, the easy way to talk about things that bother you. So she puts out this tweet, and then, of course, everybody's losing their minds. ESPN is making a huge deal about this, and things obviously got, and I usually watch First Take on ESPN. I'm not going to watch it today because I know they're going to be slobber knocking all over women's fucking vaginas and how they shouldn't be treated like this. But let's go ahead and get into this. So ESPN, of course, predictably, is acting like this is a big deal, and they're saying that it's not. This isn't about. This isn't political correctness. This is sexist, and this is a difference between right and wrong. So now they want to tell us what to feel. Now they want to tell us that we should be taking this seriously. And a lot of us obviously are not. A lot of us are laughing at this. Mike Golick Jr. on Mike, and Mike says that he actually said white males have had it good for a while. So the feminist agenda has obviously permeated ESPN and the sports landscape. You've got some of your flagship sports commentators cracking on themselves. Like, we as white males have had it good for a while, so now we need to take a back seat. That's a crying fucking shame. Anytime you have a white male talking about how good they've had it for a while and acting like he actually gives a shit, that's a microcosm of how sad about how sad this situation is. And it was funny to see all three Mikes, Mike Golick Jr., and of course Mike Greenberg, they're all sitting around defending this. Like, oh, this is sexist and Cam Newton is this big bully, etc., etc. Like I said before, they're not characterizing this as sexist or politically incorrect. They're saying that it's a difference between right and wrong. You can't tell your audience what they should feel. So then they do the predictable thing, and they start drawing comparisons to men. In other words, men and women are equal. And one of the things that they were that people have talked about regarding this particular situation is that Jordan Rodriguez has every right to talk about what she wants to talk about. What makes you think she doesn't know about route running? Listen, Jordan Rodriguez, she doesn't know about routes, okay? She's not in the film room. She's not in a film room breaking down film. She's not breaking down routes. She's not in the film room with guys like Greg Cosell, Ron Jaworski, Kean Fahey. She doesn't listen. And Golick actually says that most women can't read defenses. He actually acknowledged that on the tweets. Then of course he says, well, most men can't either. That's a feminist response. Men are smarter than women. Period. This is one of many reasons why there aren't more female coaches. Okay? Then, of course, they want to say women are just as intelligent as men. And then he says, I'll bet I could quiz you men and you guys wouldn't know. But again, person for person, men are smarter than women. That's always the way it's been. That's always the way it will be. When it comes down to it, the reason Cam Newton laughed is because he is acknowledging a fundamental, indisputable truth that we all know. Females can't comprehend defensive schemes, okay? They can't comprehend defensive schemes like cover 2 versus zone blitz. They don't know the difference between a dig route and an out route or a post pattern, or the difference between a screen or a bubble screen, the difference between the strong side or the weak side. They don't know this stuff. I don't have a problem with women in sports, and I'm not trying to be politically correct there. If women want to be in sports, cool. Just make sure you look good and report the facts. I don't give a fuck about I don't care about your defensive analysis of the Cincinnati Bengals, okay? Because that's going to be flawed. You're a fucking woman. Not only do you not have the time to break down defenses and offenses, you're not interested in that stuff. Females shouldn't pretend that they give a shit about sports. The only reason why they're in sports to begin with is because men decided to let them in. And now that they have their foothold in the door, now they want to act like they're fucking experts. And when they try to talk about shit they know they don't know anything about, you get guys like Cam Newton here laughing his ass off. And then everybody predictably loses their minds. The interesting thing, And I've gotten all of my information off of this. Anytime you want to know, anytime you need to know the pulse of ESPN on any certain topic, especially when it comes to this stuff, just watch Mike and Mike in the morning, because they're the basic mouthpiece. They're going to be coming to an end here real soon. But all of the response coming in on the Twitter and text and everything to Mike and Mike defends Cam Newton. Okay? And the thing is they are surprised. They're acting like they're surprised at the response. Even women outside of ESPN thinks it's funny. Stu Gatz, who co-hosts with Dan Le Batard, he came onto the show and said, my wife thought it was funny. My wife thinks it's weird it's weird to hear a woman talk about running routes in the NFL. Women are the only women who seem to have found this offensive are women in the sports media. Sarah Spain, Kate Fagan, of course, Christine Leahy's probably going to run her fat fucking mouth about this shit. Women outside of the sports media know and understand women have no place in sports. They know this. So when they hear Cam Newton here again, laughing about women talking about dig routes and things of that nature, they get it because it's weird to them too. And the reason why it's weird is because it's not a woman's place. They read a tweet from a tweeter who said his wife, this is a tweeter, I don't remember what his name was, but they said that the tweeter said that women shouldn't be allowed on the sidelines if they didn't play. Okay? Again, it's not just men in response to this. These are the women responding to this stuff. I remember when we got the I think it was the Greg Hardy. No, it wasn't it was the Ray Rice elevator. No, it was the DeAndre Johnson situation. And this was a couple years back. And ESPN was, DeAndre Johnson said it hit her. And the first tweet they read on air was from a woman who says, well, listen, he would have hit her if she didn't hit him first. It was dead fucking silence. I'm on my bike. I'm actually cranking out some miles. I start laughing on my bike because neither one of them knew what the fuck to say because they knew she was right. Of course, the narrative is what he said was reprehensible, and Greeny said that the reaction bothers him more. Of course it does. Then he compared it to fake news. Here's the problem with ESPN's response to all of this, is the audience has spoken, but ESPN keeps pushing back. Okay? Their audience is telling them what they think, but they keep pushing back. ESPN they keep fighting their crowd. Listen, even on the Dan Le Batard show, the audience is saying, you guys are pushing the feminist and liberal agenda. And ESPN keeps saying, no, we're not. You guys are wrong. You guys are Neanderthals. You guys are wrong. We're not going to give you what you want. We're going to tell you what you should think is right and wrong. They keep doing this. They're telling us that we're putting the liberal agenda label on it. And then, and Mike Greenberg characterized it as projection. So they're blaming us, the audience, for not agreeing with their stance on this stuff. Then later on in the show, I don't know if it was in the middle or later on, but either way, the three of them, the three mics, were sitting there. It's so funny how disingenuous they're. Well, the three of us don't think it's funny, but most people out there don't. Like, it's almost like they can't. It's almost like they cannot get the message that this is not what their audience wants. This is why ESPN is losing subscribers. This is why ESPN is losing viewership. This is why people are jumping over to Fox Sports. Now, Fox Sports is guilty of some of this too, but not on the level that ESPN is. And all their sports commentators and sports pundits and radio talk show hosts keep saying, no, guys, we're not the problem. You're the problem. You're telling us what you want, but we're telling you what you should want. So we're going to keep giving it to you. Now, I've always said that I'll be long since forgotten and dead and buried in 6 feet under before ESPN ever goes out of business or loses the channel or whatever. But this is the bed that they've made for themselves. ESPN continues to alienate their base audience. What they're doing is their base audience is males from 18 to 35 years old. And for years now, they run commercials, they run ad campaigns, all of their sports pundits, all they do is talk shit about men. Men are Neanderthals, men are sexist, men are bad. Then of course, the ads that they run to, you know, to pay their employees, those are sexist, those are condescending as well. Men are buffoons. Men are not necessary. Men, bad, bad, bad. Dude, before long, ESPN is going to become a women's network. And then they're really going to find out that female sports fans don't matter. Because female sports fans don't move the needle. It's the men that do. The only reason why women give a shit about sports these days is because men give a shit about sports. Sports has become really the most profitable enterprise in the media. It's the last bastion where live TV actually has some value. We all watch TV shows. Most of us don't watch them live. We watch them on Netflix, Hulu. We don't watch TV shows live anymore. The only TV shows that the only TV shows that people really watch live anymore are things like Game of Thrones and sports events. This is how it goes. But ESPN continues to alienate their fan base, and before long, they're not going to have any more fans. Guys, men can only take so much. They can only take so much of one network talking shit about them, talking about how bad they are and about how bad men are. I remember a couple weeks ago, I saw some sort of update that said Wayne Rooney got busted for a DUI. Big fucking deal. This happens all the time. But no, what they want to do is they want to continue to churn out this men are bad feminist agenda. It's going to cost them. They laid off 100+ people back in either April or May. And it was obvious the reason why they were doing it. But of course, they come on the radio, they come on TV. Well, people are saying it's because we're pushing the feminist agenda and you guys are wrong. Like we're fucking stupid or something. They also continue to berate their biggest product, the NFL. The NFL has their, quote, problems only because of ESPN. Domestic violence, concussions, sexism, breast cancer awareness month. Man, I'm telling you, ESPN continues to bite the hand that feeds them. They're alienating and bashing and criticizing their base majority audience, and then they want to turn around and talk shit. All women do on ESPN is talk shit about the NFL. Head injuries and domestic violence and sexism in the media, and of course this Cam Newton situation, it's the same thing. Something's got to give. It might not give this week, it might not give next year, but it's going to come to a flashpoint. It's going to come to a point where men and their base audience, they're going to throw their hands and they're going to say, dude, fuck this, man. We've had enough. This is ridiculous. Cam Newton laughed at something that was different and correct. Women should not be talking about fucking routes because nobody takes them seriously. Look good. Report the facts. We don't give a fuck about your opinions. And we don't give a shit if a player doesn't respect your opinion. Most people, dude, most men and women do not. But as long as ESPN continues to try to tell us what we're supposed to think and what we're supposed to feel, this is why men are jumping ship and going to FS1. Thanks for listening.